Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Music Director Office Hours. My name is Keiko, and I'm going to be your host today. I have been at APM for about 10 years, coming up on 11. I'm a senior music director, and so I spend my days working with creatives like you find the perfect song for your projects. So today we will be going through the website, answering any search-related questions you have on how to find that perfect track. We received a ton of great questions from you all upon registration, but if things come up as we explore the site, please drop them through the Zoom Q&A or the chat and we'll get to them. If we run out of time, someone on our team will reach out to make sure that you're all set. All right. I like to start our office hour sessions with a little highlight from our website, a feature that I find super useful that you might not know about. And today we're going to talk a little bit about sonic similarity and specifically dialing that in so that you're just looking at a segment of a track that you want to match. And so I'll show you how that works. I'm going to head over to our website. If you're not familiar with sonic similarity, it is our AI-powered matching tool so you can drop in a popular song, or if you're looking for a song similar to something on our website, it'll find other similar tracks. So I'll show you how to use all of this, but in particular, what I wanted to highlight is something new. So let me just bring up a track. I'm going to head over, this is our homepage. I'm going to head over to search by clicking in this left panel over here, search. I'm just going to grab a random track. Let's do something with lyrics. Um, all right. So if I'm listening to this track, Gravity. My hand, I'll drift away from light. Little bit lost without you. This is really working for me. But I specifically want to match this like kind of cool pulsing chorus right here. If I take my mouse and I click and drag across that section, and then down in the player here, you'll see our sonic similarity button is now blue in relation to this blue segment that I just highlighted. If I click similar tracks here, now the sonic similarity search will be looking for tracks specifically similar to the segment that I highlighted. So let's listen to some of these. Pulsing electronic pop with female vocals. Yeah, so that I think, using sonic similarity on a whole track can be useful if the song sounds kind of the same throughout. But if there's a specific section that you're really trying to hone in on, using the selector tool to highlight it and then run your search on that specific section is very helpful. So I just wanted to point that out. Before we dove into our user questions, which I can do now. So, like I said, we received lots of great questions from you all. I'm just going to start with the first one, which is, what are the best questions to ask for a music search? I'm interpreting this as someone who isn't sure where to start when they're trying to describe their music and they're trying to figure out basically where to start with the music search. So some questions that would be helpful for you to ask yourself is what is the emotional goal of whatever content you're creating? Are you looking for something that is uplifting or exciting or heartfelt or maybe tense and scary? Coming up with that emotion will help you hone in on the right tracks. Another good question to ask is, who is the content for? So are we aiming this at Gen Z or like executive C-suite people? Obviously, depending on your audience is gonna change the type of music that you're looking for, whether it's something super current or something a little more traditional or professional, etc. Another good question is, what role is the music going to play in your content? So is it going to sit under voiceover, or does it really need to be the driving factor to keep the content interesting and exciting. And then the last thing I would say can be useful is asking yourself, what do you not want the music to be? So, are there instruments you're trying to avoid? Are there genres you're trying to avoid? I can show you how to exclude that kind of stuff from your search as well. And those are all questions without even touching the genre that you're looking for, right? So if you don't really have the musical vocabulary to pick your genre, these are great starting points for you to jump off and then use our tools on the site to help you narrow it down from there. So, let's do an example. Let's say I'm working on an ad for a clothing brand for like a young adult audience. I will start with my emotion, like I said, for like clothing and fashion. A lot of times they want something confident. If it's for a younger audience, it'll probably skew pop, and something that has been released more recently. So I might start with pop and I might filter my selections to a specific time the tracks were recorded. So if I go down in my left panel, there's a recording date filter and an APM release date filter. So just to explain the difference between these two, the APM release date is the day that we released it, regardless of when it was recorded. So we are often releasing really cool new archival tracks, but those tracks were recorded in the 1960s. So the APM release date reflects the day that we released it on our site. The recording date reflects the day that the track was actually recorded. So in this case, I want to make sure I'm looking at tracks that were recorded more recently to suit that younger audience. And I'm just going to choose anything between last year and this year. And then the other question that we talked about is what role does the music play? And so let's say for this clothing brand spot, there's no voiceover. It's really just going to be the music driving the spot. So maybe I want something with lyrics to help keep the spot energetic and interesting. We have a quick filter over here, has lyrics that will pull songs with lyrics up. And then the last question that I said is, what should the music not be? And a lot of times from brands, we get, I don't want something folksy or whistly. That was so 15 years ago. So let me show you how to exclude these terms. So I might put, folk. And then in the drop down right here on this little, we call these pills, the folk pill, I'm going to click not and exclude folk. And maybe I'll even exclude whistling. So I add whistle to my search and then I go down here and click not. All right. So let's see. The last thing that I'm going to do for my search in this scenario, over here in the right panel, it says sort by release date descending. This means you're going to have the newest, most recently released tracks at the top, and it gets older as you go down. Since I already put this date filter on my search, I kind of already did that, and I just want to get the tracks that fit my terms most, which is going to be a relevance search. What tracks are most relevant to the tags that I put in my search bar? Okay. Let's hear what these sound like. That's a little too hard rock for me. Okay. Of all these tracks, I feel like this is the one that is most what I'm looking for. The other ones are a little bit too down tempo. I could add a BPM filter to take those out, but this one is sounding pretty good. So from there, I could use my sounds like button to find similar tracks. If you click that. I see in the chat, by the way, someone is having issues with sonic similarity, get the red circle over it. I would say, if you don't mind, can you reach out to support@apmmusic.com? I'm not exactly sure why that would be happening, but we'll get down to the bottom of it for you. Thank you for asking. Um, okay, and then the other one, we have someone, Stephen, with your hand raised. If you don't mind dropping your question in the chat or the Q&A, I'd be happy to address whatever you need. So like I said, so I just clicked the sounds like on sonic similarity, and it dropped my seed track, Forget Your Money, in the top here, and then I will listen to see what these sound like.
Walk in the room like a CEO. I handle my biz like a one-man show. I'm a boss and that ain't gonna change. Making moves with a smile on my face. Everybody wanna be rich. Everybody wanna get to the top of the hills. I am the flame. I am the one leading the way. Give me the crown. I'm back in town. I came to win. See you around. Wow. Give me my crown.
Yeah, so I feel like these songs definitely would work for a fashion related video. And if you're particular about lyrics, you get a good idea of what these songs are about by just reading the track titles. If you want to specifically search for lyrics, you can just add those lyric terms into your search bar. Great. Next question. How can I navigate recent changes on the website? This is a great question. Whenever we are making changes to the website, it's hopefully to increase usability and help you find music quicker. That said, I know it can get a little bit disorienting when something that you are used to being in one place moves. And I can say I'm speaking from experience because I'm just coming off a 5-month maternity leave break. And when I came back, the site looked a little bit different. So I am learning alongside you all with reorienting myself with where some things are. But I can tell you that the more you use the site, obviously, the more familiar you'll get with these tools. Easy for me to say since it's my job to be on this site all day. So let me point out a couple of things that I found most useful discovering when I came back from my leave. The first thing I want to point out is that the waveforms now on these tracks are clickable. So you used to not be able to click around on the waveforms on the tracks themselves. You would have to go down here to the bar to click on them. That's not the case anymore. Now I can even just click the waveform to begin auditioning the track. I don't even have to hit the play button. I'm just going to go here, click, and it'll pick up where you click.
Moves with a smile on my face. Everybody wanna be rich. Everybody wanna get to the top of the hills. Get money, get bills. Cheap thrills.
Here.
This is how we do it. How we do it. This is how.
So I find this to be super useful because I can just click around in the waveform. You can look to see where the builds are and the drops are, so you can navigate straight to them without really having to take your eyes off the middle of your search results. That's super useful. So that is the first thing I wanted to point out. And you noticed it a little bit when I ran our sonic similarity search on a specific segment. And then the other thing that I noticed when I came back was this left panel over here is relatively new. It is a quick way to jump to a couple of areas on our website. Obviously, the homepage up here. This is the search to get you into this mode. We also put our new releases over here. This is something that a lot of people like to just go straight to the new music. We have everything highlighted for you here. If you are just looking to kind of browse, you're not looking for something in particular, you just want to see what's new, this is a great place to start. Your playlists, or I'm sorry, not your playlist, the website playlists are over here. So things that we've spent a lot of time curating based on your needs they all live in this left panel here, and then you can scroll from here. And then lastly, this is our new sound effects catalog. If you don't know about the sound effects catalog that we are partnered with, and you're interested, reach out to your account executive. We'd be happy to give you some information on that and how to get access to it. Let's see, what else? If it's really been a while since you've been to our site, one of the biggest changes is that we now have two ways of searching in in your top search bar, and you'll see it over here. There's a little ABC icon over here and a little sparkle. That is how you switch between our traditional keyword search, which is the ABC mode. Keyword search is traditional metadata tags. So as you type things in, you are being matched with our metadata on our tracks. The purple sparkle is our prompt search. This is an AI-powered tool. You enter a prompt like conversationally. So the way that you might search for something on Google or to a friend, you would go ahead and type in whatever you're looking for, and then the prompt will try to interpret what you have asked for and then give you tracks based on that. So I do want to show a couple of examples of that, and the next question we can play around with it. So the next question is looking for tips and tricks for finding lifestyle related tracks for short form content. Lifestyle can mean a lot of different things depending on the project. We usually see lifestyle as music that feels current and rooted in everyday moments, something that feels like you might actually hear it in real life. So I would say something that's more of a cool underscore as opposed to a dramatic cinematic track is how I'm interpreting this. So using our prompt search, I might say cool underscore groove for a lifestyle video. Okay, let's hear some of these. And again, I'm just going to click in the waveform to the parts that seem like they might be most interesting. Okay, cool. I mean, these are cool. They feel kind of upscale, lo-fi R&B-ish. And one thing that I've noticed with using prompt search is that when it feels it's identified the style that you're looking for, it's going to just give you a bunch of that one style. And so if you want to get a variety of different genres, you can just adjust your prompt. So in this case, we kind of met the like R&B kind of chill out, down tempo vibe, but maybe I actually want something more pop. And I feel like the word that is making prompt search think I want this style is probably groove. So I'm going to just replace this with pop, cool underscore pop for a lifestyle video. And we'll see what these are like. Yeah, so that kind of shows you how you can adjust your searches, especially your prompt searches, to get different set of results. You can just swap out one of the words, and these kind of still had that laid back underscore feel that could work for lifestyle video. Someone's like cooking their breakfast or driving in a car, getting on a plane, etc. But we've just changed up the genre. So you could put in any genre here, rock, hip hop, EDM, etc. Thank you for that question. Next question, how much will AI take over to meet musical needs? Which is topical because we were just talking about this AI tool, prompt search. This obviously AI is not going away. It's, you know, very it's very top of mind for most people in creative fields. I will say APM doesn't represent AI generated tracks, so we want to support creators and artists. What we do use AI for is for tools like this that will help you find music faster. So we are really, focused on using technology as a discovery tool to increase efficiency and make your process go a little bit smoother. We're not looking to use AI technology to replace our creators and artists, especially, music is emotional and that's a little bit harder to replicate without the human touch. So we will continue to support our artists and composers and continue to expand these features that will help you find these composers' music faster for your projects. In terms of if AI is going to take over the music world, obviously, if I could tell the future, I would be in early retirement in maybe a snowy winter cabin right now. But, like I said, we'll just continue focusing on supporting our creators and rolling out features that will help you out. Thank you for that question. Next question. What was your favorite part about scoring some of the 2026 Winter Games content, and what was the biggest challenge? This is a fun question. I know it's not super related to how to search for music, although I can point out a few things. If you don't know, we do a lot of work with the Olympics broadcasters, and so what we really love to do is put together playlists that they can just quickly grab and go as they are editing new content. And so our team has spent a ton of time compiling these playlists. One of the biggest challenges was making sure that we supplied them with music authentic to the region. And thankfully, we have a ton of Italian labels. Some are archival, some are contemporary. It really spans all of it. And so that really helped us out. If you're curious about what the team put together, we have a music marketing specialist named Sarah Scarlotta, and she put together a lot of this content. Over in the left panel, if you go to APM playlist and then the 2026 Winter Games, you can check it all out. There's stuff specific to Italy in case you happen to be working on another Italy-based project. You can also find just contemporary music for sports-related content. So if you're in sports, honestly, there's highlight hooks, there's orchestral drama. I think this would be a pretty useful package for you, even if you're not specifically working on Olympic content. So, yes, we all had a lot of fun watching the Olympics and hearing our music all throughout the broadcast. Every time I heard something, I would turn to my husband and go, "Oh, that's one of our songs." So, thank you for asking that question. All right, next question. Let's see. Tips and tricks for searching or matching popular music. Okay, so actually, alongside this, one of the other questions had a specific reference that they were looking to match, which was the song Fireflies by Owl City. So let's combine these two questions together and get them both. Um, all right, let's go back to our search. And then let me pull in that song, Fireflies. If you're not familiar with the song, it is, oops, from, I don't know, maybe it's been close to 20 years ago now. And it's kind of got this like fun little synthy indie vibe. So I just from YouTube grabbed a link to the song and I'm copying and pasting it in our search bar. And I'm going to hit enter. This is one of the ways to use sonic similarity. You can copy and paste a YouTube link. You can do one from Spotify, or you can drag and drop your own MP3 or WAV file into the search bar and it will come back with songs that are similar. Let's see. I can kind of hear it, a little bit synthy. That feels more accurate to me. The original song has kind of like this twinkly, sparkly synth line with the drum beat, so that sounds pretty good. And so I should clarify when I copied and pasted the YouTube link, I actually copied a link for an instrumental version of this song. And it just kind of depends on whether you use the vocal version or the instrumental version, depends on if you're trying to really match the vocal or if you're really trying to more match the vibe of the song. So the way that sonic similarity works right now is if you drop in a track with vocals on it, it's really gonna try its best to match the vocal first and foremost. Sometimes the style of the song is more of like a second thought. So it honestly just depends on what is most important to you. In this case, I thought the instrumental version would help us get to the style quicker. And if you instead wanted to match the vocal, you could drop the vocal version in. We are working on rolling out a feature where you drop the vocal version in of a song, and there will be a button that says ignore vocals, and it'll get you instrumental tracks based on that. So that is to come. So that's one way that you can find matching tracks based on popular music. But let's say I listen to all these and like they're good, but I just want to hear some other options too. You could do a keyword search or you could do a prompt search. So let me show you both and you can kind of decide what you think sounds the best to you. So for a keyword search using tags and metadata, I usually like to always put in a genre, a BPM range, and then a couple of like mood descriptors. So in this case, the genre it feels kind of like indie pop, electronic. It has that synth vibe, and the synth is a little bit twinkly or sparkly, so I might put in sparkling. The tempo, so in terms of genre and tempo, if you don't know those off the top of your head, you can just Google it. If you even put in Owl City Fireflies genre, it'll just tell you, or Owl City Fireflies BPM. It's pretty easy to pull those up. So in this case, our BPM lives somewhere in the 90 range. So I just went over to our tempo tool on the left side, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of a buffer. So I'll say like 85 to 95. And then let's hear what these sound like. Okay, so I'm feeling like it's not really nailing the synth aspect of it. And if you listen to the reference track, it actually kind of has a sort of like sciencey tech feel to it. So I might even add the word science. And let's hear some of these. This is feeling right to me, and I would drill down even further by using the sounds like button here to see what else I could find in this realm. So that just kind of takes you through the keyword search process that I might do. I add all these keywords, I kind of narrow it down. I added science to really hone in on what I was looking for. And then from here, when I find something that was really working for me, I would click sounds like to hear more like that. The other option is to do a prompt search. So let me clear this out. I just used the X button there, and I'm going to switch over to my prompt search using the toggle, and I will type in twinkling synth indie song similar to Owl City Fireflies. So you can tell it references, and it usually, at least in my experience, knows what I'm talking about. So let's hear some of these.
The airways slowing.
That's pretty good.
You take me so high. Now I won't forget you. You take me so high. It's taking place. My God, I think. Just say what you want to say. Just close your eyes and.
Yeah, so I'm happy with these results too. And whether you use keyword versus prompt, I think kind of boils down to how familiar are you with using musical terms. Keyword might work best. Prompt is good for more conversational stuff. And then they both gave decent results, just different. So as you play around with these two features, you'll probably find that sometimes keyword is better and sometimes prompt search is better. And it's just nice to have both tools to lean on to help you find music, more quickly. So that's how I would go about matching popular music. The next question is best ways to find sports tracks. And I actually have a couple sports related questions on here. So I just want to point out that we have in the left panel, let me switch back to that. Okay, left panel over in our quick filters, we have sports right here. If you click on that, this tag is curated by music directors who have determined that the release is good for sports. And so that's where I would start. And then from there, type in whatever styles you're looking for. A lot of times with sports, it's going to be hip hop. And let's say you want something with lyrics, I would add that from the quick filters on the left side has lyrics. I see one of my favorite sports songs here, and I will play this for you.
Heart is pumping, now I'm ready for war. Victorious, ready, set, go. Heart is pumping, now I'm ready for war. Victorious, ready, set, go. Heart is pumping, now I'm ready for war. around. Everybody knows it's about.
That one's super fun. I also want to point out that we have a relatively new library called Rival, and it is specifically created for sports content. And I found it to be very useful, and our clients are loving it. So I'll show you how to get there. I clear out my search. I can just type in Rival, and you have to select the one under library. This is the library name. You can select it from here. The other way to get to specific libraries is using this library drawer over here. We have lots, so utilize this little search thing to find it. And this library, like I said, focuses on music specifically for sports, all different kinds of styles. I'll switch over to the album view so you can kind of get an idea of what styles they have. But it ranges from dramatic orchestral stuff to hip hop to rock, and there's, some drumline rock, like cool hybrid styles. And a lot of the things like, for example, this hip hop, it's going to have vocals. This one specifically has female vocals, which is a big deal because female sports they're super popular now, and we like to have female vocals to go along with that. So the cool thing about these tracks is that they also have a ton of versions, which now is a good time for me to point out where to find those. So this is the track A New Era, and if I click on this, this is our versions drawer. And you can find all the different versions of this track. They have some specifically cut for broadcast, as well as Sting's 15-second versions, etc. And if you really want all the customization in the world, that's where you can download the stems, and those are going to be found next to your versions. You can audition them here, select a couple to download, or just select all of them and hit download. If you don't find the stems next to or on any of the tracks, if you're looking for stems and it's not there, please reach out to us. A lot of times we're able to track them down. Like, if the song is a little bit older, we might not have the stems on our site, but we can often track them down with the library. We obviously don't have stems for our archival catalog. However, we can use tools to kind of extract the stems as best as we can and get that separation for you. So, like I said, if you need stems, you're not seeing them, regardless of what kind of track it is, just reach out and we'll see what we can do for you. Cool. Music for sports. That is definitely a popular genre here. Okay, next question. Best ways to differentiate your search when the same results keep coming up. This is a really good question. And like we saw with adjusting prompt search and the keyword search, just swapping out terms to get different sets of results is my technique. I, if you don't really have like the vocabulary to decide what term to swap out, I would use this left panel as your jumping off point. So if you've been describing music as upbeat and happy all this time and you keep getting the same tracks, you just need something different, go over to mood and choose a different mood that maybe still falls under happy, but it's cheerful or feel good. Swapping in synonyms will help you get different sets of results. You can also, like we saw, drop in YouTube link, Spotify link for the styles that you really are looking for. That's a good way to just kind of freshen up what you are getting in your results. And then the other thing is we release tracks every month, the first Wednesday of every month. It's our favorite day, and we get literally thousands of tracks per release. So if you come back to, you've been using the same keywords and you keep getting the same results, we'll just come back next month and use the same keywords. You will get a different set of results because we have new tracks. So let me show you a good way to kind of like save searches and be able to come back and get the newest stuff at the top. So like I said, let's say you're doing upbeat, happy, playful, and you're like, this is great, but I keep getting the same tracks and I want something different, I'm gonna save the search by clicking this heart over here. I'll just name it, I'll hit save. Okay. So then, it's a new day. Come back to the site and you're like, it's the first Wednesday of the month. Let me see what is new that matches my favorite search. So if I go over to this menu in the right panel and then to my APM, I can go to favorites. And then I can go over to searches and I'll click the one that I just put in there, upbeat. And then I will sort by release date, descending to get the newest stuff at the top. And now I'm seeing all of my upbeat, happy, playful stuff that was released most recently. So this is a good way to kind of freshen up a search that works for you really well, but you just want something new. I would definitely utilize this method. All right. Another question that we have, is there a way to sort by track usage in order to see which tracks are used the least to keep things sounding different than other productions? I love this question. There unfortunately is not, we don't make track usage public. So um, it's just not something available on our website. However, if there are particular tracks that you are looking to use for let's say it's a big campaign and you just want to make sure that it's not been used in other big campaigns, you can reach out to us and we can do that digging for you just to make sure that, like, let's say you're working on a dog food brand, there isn't another dog food brand using the same song. Um, yeah, just reach out to us and we can look into it for you. But I like the question and I like the idea. And conversely, there is also not a way to sort by track usage for the most popular stuff. These are things that we are considering, and we're always rolling out new features. So we appreciate the questions and the input on what tools would be helpful for all of you. So as you come across as you explore the website, if you come across features that you wish were there, please reach out to us. There's a chance they are there and they're just not in the place that you're expecting them to be. Or we just love to have your input so that we know what's most important to you and what features to build out moving forward. And with 1 minute left, on that note, I do want to mention that we have been talking about collaborative playlists for a very long time, and we are finally aiming to launch those next month. And so collaborative playlists are going to make it a lot easier for you to work alongside your team, share a playlist with your team, and within that playlist, you can make comments on particular tracks, you can add tracks, remove tracks, and everything will be tracked so that you know who's editing what. You can change access so that some people are editors and some people can just listen to the playlist, and you can get notifications based on changes that have been made. So we've put a lot of thought into how these collaborative playlists work, which is why it's taken a while to develop, and we're just really excited about launching those next month. So keep your eyes out for that. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us today for our music director's office hours. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. support@apmmusic.com will get you to our people to make sure that we can help you out. So thanks again and have a great rest of your day.